welcome back to the Really For Reals final episode of Halley's Children, Belgrade, our historical superhero adventure. We at Streaming Rainbow are so happy you're joining us, and we hope that the story we're telling together is as captivating to you as it is to us. Now, I could go into my usual spiel about subscribing to our content and joining us in our Discord, and I hope that you do, but right now, you don't want to hear that. You just want me to get on with it so you can finish the adventure. So, with no further babbling on my part, let's get on with the show. Marvelous. We move now to the 50 years between the siege and the Iron Rose meeting. The wars that will come to be called the Wars of the Roses make England a difficult place to live for a while, with many bloody battles as two houses contest for rulership. Mehmed the Conqueror continues his attempts to expand the Ottoman Empire, being driven back from Wallachia by Vlad Dracula III. The Spanish Inquisition begins in Spain, seeking out heresies among their largely Catholic population. William Caxton begins printing books in English, starting with a translation of Aesop's fables. The Hongzhi Emperor ascends the throne in China. The Jews are expelled from Spain with the Alhambra Decree. Christopher Columbus lands in the Americas, opening the way for European exploration and colonization there. Leonardo da Vinci creates the first design of a helicopter. Michelangelo's Pieta is created in Rome. How do the five of you spend these years?
Ida spends their time helping wherever. Lots of watching, especially Mila and Yelena, just to watch them and see how they deal with the transition of years and seeing no changes on their face and watching everything around them move on and age. But mostly just watching. And I think she does spend a moment, she kind of sometime over these years, especially seeing this relationship between her brother and Yelena, finds a moment and sits down next to her as she's maybe goes out as they're foraging or something, and kind of smiles to themselves. You know, you're very good for Half-Thor.
I think we are good for one another.
I would agree. I think you're the better half, though.
Well, this is clear.
Always. I don't know what your plans are. I don't know what his plans are. I would say this is the longest he stayed in one place, but that's not true because I saw him stay on a dock for 100 years, so he's very strange. Again, I don't know what you plan to do. If travel is something in your future, as it probably will be, I will offer companionship if you need it. If you do not choose to go the same direction as Half-Thor. At any time. I know he has plans to go across the sea. I don't know if you mean to follow.
I don't know where the road will take me. But friend, you are always welcome wherever I am.
This is good to know. This one's not poisonous, right?
Feed it to Anush, find out.
Hey, this is good. I like the science. Okay. That's it. Just the offer of protection and whatever
Mhm.
should the time come. So that's it.
I think Hathor has a conversation with Yelena at some point, similarly, probably like 5 years in.
Mhm.
It is, hey. I think it's like after a night where like Nona had like maybe forgot that who he was. Like he had come around to bring something and she like was pleasant and oh hello, like who are you? Like, and you know, Hathor, having seen this now hundreds of times, literally was in other cases obviously you know, guided her or whatever, and had a conversation like after that, has a conversation with Yelena, and it's like I know that you know Nona does not have much love. I also would tell you that you don't either. There are, not here at least, here you have a history. There are people that know you and your family. I've found I'm a particularly bad actor, but with some good luck, 20 to 30 years is about the time you can spend before people start saying, you look really good for your age. And then that compliment turns into a question, turns into an accusation. And you're not stupid, but I just want you to know that wherever you want to go, if I'm welcome, I will follow.
If you are welcome.
Also, if you don't invite me, I'm pretty sure your mom will. So we're good.
This is true. Hathor, I look forward to seeing the world through eyes that have seen it before and hopefully through ones that have not.
I did want to talk to you about that. There are things I want to do in America before we get back to the Iron Rose. And I think I can just, oh shit, that's not a real continent. There's a new land I need to go see, and I think it's gonna take me about half the time to get there and get back to the Iron Rose. And I know it's important to you to see Greece and see where your father was from. We've had that conversation. I think around that time, Ida would make a better companion for a while. And I make a promise to you that when I see you back at the Iron Rose, that from that day forward, until you tell me to go away, you'll never not see me again.
You are making a promise with a witch.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty spooky.
Binding, perhaps.
Yeah, well, I told you that one story about the witch, so there's some don't make it too weird. Still have nightmares about her sometimes.
Okay. Okay. I was trying to be cute and now Ugh.
I'm sorry. There's not a word for it. I just say what I mean. You're always cute to me.
Thank you. Yes, I want to. I think this is probably a good plan. A painful one, but a good one.
We'll teach you patience. You need it. You know it's true.
You need to leave my sight right now.
See? And then he walks away.
She trips him with a root.
He smacks her ass with his mind.
God, the worst. Ida vomits for no reason somewhere else.
Anush has a nosebleed.
Anush dies. I think I could kill Anush.
The one thing.
Yeah. If we went to... I can run through what Yelena's plans were quickly.
Yeah.
So, staying in Belgrade until Nana finally passes, unfortunately. And then bringing her mama to a coastal city in northern Greece that is still a Venetian hold because most of Greece is Ottoman controlled. A small city called Parga. I apologize to our Greek viewers if I've said that incorrectly. In which case, she stays for another 12 years there, and Vesna is accepted by her late husband's family, and she gets to be a grandmother to her cousins and their children. And after 12 years or so, Vesna also passes. And for a little while, Yelena is losing herself to be a true feral forest witch. And
Yeah, I think that's the part where Halfdoor jumps off. Stays with you through your mom's and then goes.
And then
Through the grieving process and lets you go be a feral forest witch. Make some myths in northern Greece.
yeah. And then a boy who looks remarkably like he could be your brother shows up at your door.
Yeah. In the interim, she's also writing letters. Some were to Ida to let them know where she was going to be. Some were to Mila, telling Mila of the artwork she has come to love with very rudimentary sketches of it. And Yelena is learning to play the harp. Not well, at least not at first. Her instructors constantly are irritated that she pulls it like a bowstring and is not delicate. And will include recipes as she can to send to Mila as well. And also sends letters to Pagan, talking of prized fighters and interesting people that she thinks that maybe he would want to fight, with letters that to be dictated to Anush, because I doubt he would have the patience to read anything Yelena would have to say. And occasionally there are stolen notes or journals from prominent minds in the area that she sends along for him. And I don't think she writes to Hafthor. She just lets that happen.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, and eventually makes her way to France to meet up with Louise de Savoy and become a lady-in-waiting with the family there. Until they make their way to Versailles.
Halfdoor goes to America, and then I'm gonna DM you what he does at the specific spot where he knows the star falls. I don't want to waste our viewers' time. Also, it's kind of a secret, so.
Ooh, okay. Secret.
Cam can't know.
Ida tries to educate themselves more in the fine art of espionage. especially in Versailles. Very excited.
Mila is getting used to having people that don't leave. And even, with Elena going, the fact that she gets letters, be like, we still have this connection, is something new, and something that, even though she's always had this relationship with her, is not something she felt she ever deserved. And so it's like the first time she's like, I may not be the curse I always thought I was. That came with the baptism. And so she leans on Etta to teach her how to read so that she can read on her own things like the Bible and its translations and the differences between those translations and the Torah, and even, branching out to the Quran and the Bhagavad Gita and the Tipitaka and just all these different religious philosophers to try and find the commonalities between them. Because to her, that is the grand symphony. That is the divine plan. That is the work of the composer that people are trying to understand. So that is what she is spending her time doing. And if there is anybody around that is making a name for themselves as a religious philosopher, she spends some time there to learn who they are and what they're saying, and to see if there's any validity behind it. And along with those studies is also the study of particularly who the archangels are, and whether or not they are just people like her. And one of them that she tends to kind of lean into is Zadkiel, who's apparently the angel that stopped Abraham from sacrificing Isaac with your faith is enough. Because to her, that says you don't have to follow the rules, follow the faith. And that kind of becomes her mantra. It's like, you don't have to follow the strict rules, follow the faith. And so that's the mindset that she goes into through these holy books and these holy people. And also with the side eye of seeing what Anusha's doing with his bubbling bottles and pots and heads and jars, and just, because this is also another aspect of the Divine Symphony as well. And while they butt heads about what that exactly means, she is secretly very entertained by it, and actually spends a lot more time in his workshop than he probably would like.
Well, here's the thing. These next 50 years for Anush are a complete departure of the past 300. It's less of solitary investigation and like more about like the sociology of like these groups of people, these powered people. He's going to spend like the next 50 years communicating with them, like starting with Elena, teaching her about like whatever he can teach her about what he knows. But then he'll like move on, like help like Ida teach Mila how to read, like reach out to like Otto and Mirwine, and like eventually like these like basic like worldly knowledges are not like his purview in teaching. It's about learning everybody's abilities and learning how to help them like harness them and make them more of like a positive aspect to them, as opposed to like whatever detriments that come with like this. If like they need to like help like concealing it, like he does research into that, and just like going down these lists of everybody that has been touched by whatever this energy is, and learning about them and learning how these powers work and how they are like active or develop in other people's bodies, as opposed to like some are like emotionally triggered, like memory triggered, some things like that, and will like document all of that. So that is his new research, because he doesn't need to find where to go next. That's something that's been taken care of. And on the second half of that, I think he's very much in constant communication with Robert, trying to get something set up in this new place where we need to like make roots and eventually get to. But until then, I think he stays near like the Iron Rose and just waits for people to like come to him.
Hathor does stay in contact with Mirwine and asks her a favor to, like, I'm assuming that's who he used to get to America. And while that can stay a secret, we'll try to ask her to give updates that he's still alive to people back home so that they know he hasn't died.
Absolutely.
And I think Anush would definitely write Yelena back after the first note was dictated. He's like, "What is it? What is this? Let me write. Let do these things. It's part of what he's doing. Like he's straight up becoming Professor X."
Love it.
All right. The year.
And then he teaches. And then eventually, no, that's later. Actually, I was getting my timeline wrong.
Okay. The year 1506 rolls around, and the time for meeting in London is here at last. The Iron Rose, run by Hild, is reserved for your private party for a week, and the guests begin arriving. Everyone from Hastings is the politicking. Gilgamesh and Loki are there, as well as Hippolyta,
You
Cuchulainn.
became a robot for a minute when
Where? When? What?
when you were
Everybody
saying
from
the people.
Hastings was there, and then you went, "Ooh."
Yeah.
Okay.
So start again at everybody from Hastings.
Gotcha. Everyone from Hastings is there, including Vermund, who seems more interested in socializing than in politicking. Gilgamesh and Loki are there, as well as Hippolyta, Cuchulainn, Arjuna, and even Bastet, a medium-sized black cat who speaks very politely in your minds. Loki explains that they were unable to find Horus, and that Morrigan declined the invitation and said Cuchulainn could speak for her. So tell me about the conference. What are your plans? What do you do there?
I think before the conference, I would try to get as fast to Yelena before.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously. I would just truly info dump his trip, which he would have asked Mirwine to start there, and then like to take him as close to landfall in through a river inlet or something, right, to the starfall spot. But then I think he would have went south through the Americas. And he would have just like info dumped this stuff, and he's got like a book of like pressed flowers and seeds and all this like cool shit that he's like, I learned, I don't know how many new languages. I can't really translate it, but we have a lot to write down. There's like so much we need to record. There's like a whole other cool group of people. They're beautiful. They're all like 6'2", brown, long hair.
Tell me more.
Dark. It's insane. No, come on. I'm here, ain't I? Anyways, I can see a building that's beautiful and not want to fuck it.
His favorite metaphor.
It's my only metaphor. Hathor is autistic. Yeah,
Just
and then he just
wonderful.
goes, he just goes on for hours, like explaining that, and is like, I have this idea of like a place for us, but I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. But not
You
just
know,
us.
I was thinking something similar, I think.
Okay. And then I think they talk about that plan
Yeah.
and hatch their plan that we will unveil after the compact. I think Hathor would try to just say, speak up at the beginning of the conference, though, and just say, I think we can all know throughout time that having a singular leader is a failure. Whether it's a Caesar, a King Nebuchadnezzar, or a Pharaoh. And he gives like a cute little wink to Bast. So I would say that we do everything we can to be like the Greeks and have the best ideas win, no matter where they come from. And with that, I would just say that I think a few of our principles should be one. Our first one, give credit where it's due. I agree to it. Ida, do no harm. I think if we entered this agreement, it is of free will. And then lastly, that we preserve histories. We've seen humanity set so far back through the burning of the Library of Alexandria, through the sacking of Rome, through the Inquisitions, through all these times and eras where conflict has led to the destruction of progress and the regression of humanity. And if we can tip the scale to preserve that and to push humanity forward to uphold our primary tenet, which is to do no harm, I think we have a responsibility to. And that is what I would offer this group. And then he sits down and he puts his hands on his lap, and then he moves one hand over to Yelenis.
I agree. I agree with Hathor. I also think that we should all, and with this, they very pointedly look at the ones who came before. We should all maintain communication as best we can. The world is changing every day, and communication seems to be getting easier and easier across this wide world we are discovering. I would also say at the, without wanting to sign up our friend Hilda here, we meet every 100 years. And there's no better place than your place.
There might be a better place. We may have a place for contention, but
we should
that'll
at least
later.
meet every 100
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying the place.
All right,
we have
Hathor,
an-
we understand. We get it. Shut up. Can we all agree to stay in communication? I know our friends, the ones from Hastings, we have done honestly at the bulk of the effort with Edmund and Otto. Thank you. You have done the hard work keeping us connected. So I think we all need to rise up to your standards.
I have one question. Is Robert there?
Yes, Robert is there.
Okay. I only have one amendment to let's make it every 50 years. I think a generation. We all have to move. The max we can stay anywhere from any given time is 30, 35 upwards. So take 10 years to travel your way. Get your ass back here. Stay in touch. but I'm open to 100 too.
Whatever anyone else thinks.
Anush, come on.
You're muted.
Oh, that's why he hasn't said anything. He lost his voice.
Gone.
No, I don't feel the need to like run a scene about it or like talk about it, but I think like generally what I think gets done at this conference is that like we have this space for people to talk.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like I think days even like for just
Yeah.
people to like
Absolutely.
tell like unload. Like I think this is less of a like a formal like congressional meeting and more of a like, and what it will become is just these tellings of stories and these sharings of ideas and
Which-
these updatings of tenets that will change as the world changes with us.
During
And
that time,
we-
I think Lena has a really good idea to tell you that is along the thought of what you're
Yeah.
going on. So,
hell yeah, like
Courtney,
what
this
we
was
have
your,
like
this
what
was
we
your
can
baby.
yeah, like what
I'd like you to finish what you were saying.
oh yeah, it's just but basically like things go as they go. People tell their sides of the story. People share their knowledge. We make these rules. We make these tenets. We start like forming the buds of a community. And we make plans not only to meet every 50 years, but to meet every starfall. Like to all gather at this place where we know more of us will come into being. And to have a plan, or at least have a plan to take care of those people as well. So with the generations that came before us, we don't fall short like they did.
I would like to, with the help of Mirwine, perhaps find somewhere that it's important to me that it experiences the 4 seasons properly, but I would love to build a library or a university somewhere where we
Compound.
can, yeah, somewhere we can go live when we do not wish to be amongst the ones that we will lose quickly. Take time to rest. And I want shared stories. I want updated histories. I want this to be a place where it is ours. But I believe that our compact should be here. It should be amongst the people we are trying to protect. So these meetings stay at the Iron Rose.
Yes, I
But
agree.
I just want to have
Please
a place
continue.
for us. And
Yeah. Oh, go.
somewhere where the new ones can learn at their own pace without it being so jarring.
I think then we build it.
Especially when it seems that it will happen during war.
Yes, yes. Someplace where this new generation of us will feel comfortable. And I think, and I point out, Robert, we are just starting to figure out where that may be. I think it might be a good idea to build this library, this place, this home where the next generation will be born.
Yeah. This is a.
Yes, it is a place for us to go, for us to learn in some place that will stand 300 years.
Yeah. No. See, exactly. Your scale is off. You're talking about 300 years. We're talking forever. This is a central
know.
location for beyond this starfall. If you want to make a college, a fort, a cult, a community, even your own weird little country, you can fight France for some of that land, and we can figure out that part, right? This is a special place away from everything else and a repository for that information that we can keep safe from everyone else. This is not just those things, right? But is it a place for The Library of Alexandria burned because it was in a population center, because it was a victim of war. The knowledge and everything in Rome was lost, and in Greece was lost because they were near those civilizations. This is a place, this is a retreat, this is something, a way that we can keep what needs to be preserved, both amongst the world's histories and ours, so we can inform those new who have become not touched.
She elbowed him.
Our histories.
I am convinced.
I think having something prepared for where we know what is coming is
Also good.
very good.
It's really just trying to consolidate this, but yeah, for a forever home, I love a dream.
Yes, and a forever lab, and a forever. That's the thing. It's a forever lab, a forever home, a forever college, a forever library. It is what we. And he says,
No, yes,
like,
again, I was just trying to like
we-
put things together, just like it's all
Yeah,
encompassing.
this isn't about you anymore, Anush. This is what we need. Is what the island would be. There will be many posts for you to scratch if that's what.
And very similar to
He's talking to Bass.
the first conclave, I wander off. While you were teaching him how to write A's, I go off over to Gilgamesh because that one little sentence is the only thing I have said this entire time.
Mhm.
And just sort of sit next to him, and now her wings are normally out. She only retracts them when she has to, but she normally wears her wings like the pictures of angels. The very conservative dress now, she has short sleeves so you can see the scarring on her arms. She doesn't wear a headscarf anymore. Her skirts aren't nearly as short. They're still down to the floor as per the thing, but they're not like intended to cover her up. And it's like, it's good to see you again.
It's good to see you. To see all of you.
Well, we've kept up the inn in your absence. I was just wondering how you were, how your travels have been.
It's been good to connect with old friends, and it's good to be here to see what is being created.
Indeed. I've never been one for politics, so they can do all that. But do you really think this will work?
I do. Perhaps unreasonably, but I do.
Unreasonably. How so?
There's so much that I've seen, so many conflicts, so many small things turning into big things. It's hard to predict. So being confident in something good coming and staying is perhaps a foolish thing for me, but I feel it. I feel it in my heart.
And that is where truth lies. I've learned that. Well, as I said, it is very good to see you, friend. And if Bass is around, I just give her scritches. Hopefully she jumps on my lap.
Of course. She's very appreciative. That's wonderful. You organize together, you talk to each other, you share your stories, you move amongst each other in a way that you never have. And those who came before get to meet people that they never thought that they would be able to see. And those who are here now get to meet up with their past and learn things that perhaps no one in the world knows other than those of you here at the Iron Rose. And you started out as a group of people connected by starfalls, and by the end you are a community. So much happens between 1506 and 1759. So much change. Personal firearms become the primary weapon of war. Copernicus declares the sun the center of the solar system. Martin Luther begins the Reformation. Belgrade is captured by the Ottomans, then the Habsburgs, then the Ottomans, then the Habsburgs again. Chocolate is brought to Europe and quickly becomes an obsession. The Bible is translated at last into English. Multiple plagues tear through Europe. Shakespeare writes and produces plays. The Inca Empire is destroyed by conquistadors. The Julian calendar is abandoned for the new Gregorian calendar. The British East India Company is chartered. The globe is circumnavigated. The thermometer, the graphite pencil are invented, as is the flush toilet. The Mayflower sets sail and starts the Plymouth colony in New England. Galileo is tried by the Inquisition for his defense of heliocentrism. René Descartes makes big advances in philosophy and science. The microscope is invented and cells are discovered. Ice cream is invented. Tea and coffee become popular. Telescopes are invented by the Dutch, probably given to them by Anoush, leading to many discoveries such as the elliptical orbits of planets, the rings of Saturn, and the moons of Jupiter. Calculus is developed. New Orleans is founded by the French. The steam engine is invented. Edmund Halley discovers the periodic nature of the comet that has been leading you all of your immortal lives, and it is named after him. The French and Indian War begins in North America between the French and British colonies. This is all very familiar. This is the same sort of thing we did at the end of Halley's Children Hastings, but there's something different this time. You're all members of a community. And so when in a moment you all take the reins, remember that as you're making your way through the world, through history, you don't have to be alone in doing it. So for our final segment, would all of you please tell me about your lives in the centuries before Halley's Comet unleashes its next meteor on the world? And if you don't mind, I'd love it if Anoush starts, because once the microscope is invented, we've got stuff to talk about.
As the world catches up to Anoush, he has a lot to unravel. There is, especially with the microscope, these things that he couldn't explain, this like movement in the blood, the humors, the whatever the fuck, has a new meaning and a new layer of learning to it. Why don't these powers exist outside of the body? Now he's able to like examine it. Not only is he getting like physical information and observing like and reporting on like the physiology and the psychology of all of like this community, but to those who are willing, he will get like physical samples of hair, of blood, of whatever he can find, and take at least 100 years to just study and sit with all of the information that he has collected. I think he would be open to people visiting him, but like as this like library is being built, this place that I think he would probably stay at that location and oversee like that while communicating about what is happening in the Starfall location as well.
Marvelous.
My God.
Anoush, in every life, even one as long as yours, there are moments that you never forget. And this that we're about to talk about is one of them, because once you get your hands on the most powerful microscope available, perhaps one you've made yourself or perhaps one you found, the first thing you do, of course, is to examine your own blood and pagans and compare it with other blood, that of unempowered humans. And that's when you first see them. You don't know what they are yet. You and the rest of the world barely understand what cells are, and the concept of nanomachines is still centuries away from even your intuitive genius mind. But in this moment, you see the thousands of tiny, dark spots, barely perceptible even under the microscope, active for only a few minutes in the blood and tissue of empowered people before they stop and slowly disappear. You see them, and you know that they will become the focus of your life for many years to come.
How did they get in there? Yeah, no, he's fucked. My brain just like Cameron's brain exploded.
And he's dead.
And meanwhile, since Mila spends a lot of her time in his workshop too, it's like, what? What do you see?
Look, come here, Mila. Look in here. You see how this is different from this thing? Oh my goodness! And this is the same as this. What are they? Why do not they survive? We have much to learn.
50 years later, Hafthor says to Ida, "Yeah, he like when she comes to the island. I don't know. He's tried to explain it, but he won't leave. We have to hose him down. It's awful. He like won't even bathe himself. He's obsessed. It's worse than last time."
Yeah.
Especially now that Mila's there too.
Yes. Well, at least we know that he'll
Yeah,
figure
there's
it
people
out.
here safe. Pagan's also around, so if you want to say hi.
Ida, after the conclave wraps up, I feel like Hafthor would have also info dumped on them all of their stories about this new world and what they
have
found.
this fruit. It's red and juicy and so good. And they have this other sort of thing that grows on long stalks and it's yellow and it's they call it maize. It's so the food is so much better. I don't know. And then if you go further south, they have
So
fruit, and then it
food-driven.
just goes on. Like,
Yelena will put her hands on his shoulders and start to give like a little bit of a massage to darling, shut up.
And I think something else that he talked about were the people and this concept of the two-spirit. And Ida has gotten very good at schooling their expression and is just like nodding along like, yes, maize, very interesting. And it shows an interest in this two-spirit concept and everything. But after the conclave ends, they leave notes for their brothers and Yelena and Mila and everybody, but mostly these are her family. This is her nuclear family, their nuclear family. Just saying that they have to go and that they will write when they can, and then they disappear. And they don't say where. And they do come back. They do come back at the 50 years. And I think they keep it to themselves. I think and I think there is a level of distance that their family will feel from them whenever they come back. Warmth and love, but definitely a level of difference. So, yeah, kind of a rough time around this time for Ida, but they are going to go and travel across the new world and become just start learning about these tribes, these roving tribes of people across this new world that think of life in different ways. So that's Ida.
I do believe that after a bit of time, when a appropriate place has been found by Mirwine, Yelena and Hathor work together to build what this library, university, whatever it is that it will become. And it is a marriage of natural architecture, so built by, as much as it is by living trees as it is by stone. And I don't know how long it will take them, but it is something that Yelena is certainly very, very proud of. But she makes sure that it is not a place that they stay exclusively. That they go back out into the world and they remember why they are doing this. And that is for the mortal people. And when scientific advancements start to go a little crazy, Yelena is very much interested in anything that is medically inclined, and will attach herself as closely to Anush as he will allow, while also trying to get him to see the sun.
Come, look at this, look at this, look at this, look. This one is
they're like the
different
black dots
than this
right
one.
there,
And
different
this
from
one
each
is the same
other.
as this
You
one.
know, see, they have different
It
sizes
is
and they're together.
but
It's
in outside,
crazy.
it's become
Like,
same.
look at it.
Oh my
She
goodness.
gives you both a lovely kiss on the forehead and sits you down, and then she will, my loves, I need a moment of quiet. Please let me look. And then, much like a mother, is like, hush, hush, children. And is equally excited.
Ah!
Maybe not equally.
So Mila is, for really the first time in her life, learning to live in the present. You know, she's spent so much of it worried about what is to come and the afterlife and being good and doing the good and being all the good to go to the good place. But now it's like learning to find the divine in the world and in the time around her. And so when she hears about this dude in Germany posting the 95 Theses, she goes and she absolutely is like, listens to what he has to say. And, you know, when Descartes starts doing his thing, she absolutely eats that. But also with the things like the Inquisition and the things like the plague, you know, she still has this cross wrapped around her wrist and knows the importance of being a symbol and carrying the divine within you. So whenever there are any mentions of people seeing an angel, that is her doing what she can in order to give hope and help in whatever possibility she may, knowing that, you know, thinking about it, he was just a guy too, even in his myth. So that is what she does. But she does always come back. One, she finds a way every year to get with Yelena so that they can have their sisterhood ritual that they've done since they were children. And of course, she continues to muck about the workshop, her wings knocking over things, much to Anusha's dismay. And, you know, as much as Edda will let her, you know, continue to learn from her before they go away. And, you know, Hafthor, he's, you know, glued to Yelena, so she sits and listens to his stories as well, because she also wants to know about the world and sees what the way those people see the divine and the commonalities there. But it's like, you know, she's just kind of going with the flow and not making a point to have a plan, because she's always had a plan before. And all it did was cause her to hate herself. So she's just going with the flow. And as I said, she wears her wings out almost exclusively and allows her scars to show, because what she cannot get over, she will get through.
Is that me?
That's you.
Yeah, Hafthor spends many happy years building the college repository. Definitely not Krakoa island. And I think sometime in that time, not long after the conclave at the Iron Rose, when he hears what is happening to the native peoples, I think he enters like an incredible depression. I think he's extremely mournful for like a decade. And sometime during that time, he approaches Yelena and says, "My love, I apologize for these last years. I've done my best to be dutiful. I've done my best to build, to create with you, and that has been more fulfilling than anything in all the lives I lived. But now I need to burn." And I think in that conversation, he tells her that he needs to go to America. And he does what he did hundreds of years before across Eastern Europe. And he goes and he kills in the dead of night plantation owners. He disrupts fur trapping companies. He tears down schools for native children, finds them freedom. He befriends freedom fighters and tries to pass knowledge along, and just spends that intermittent time doing that stuff, while sort of settling roots. He always hated the warmth, but he knows Yelena comes from a warmer climate, so he said, "I really like this city, New Orleans. I think it's like a better Belgrade, and the river gives easy travel up north."
Yelena has been by his side the entire time and has aided him, because what they are doing is preventing harm. And when it comes to settling in New Orleans, I am happy to be wherever you wish. But my favorite time of year is always the first snowfall.
So then we'll have a home in Quebec as well.
Okay.
One last, as I imagine word spreads about some strange demon in the
ghost.
night killing everybody. In up north, one day, a very strange looking indigenous person finds their way to your camp. They don't look male, they don't look female, they're old, they're older. And they walk in the dress of the local, like the native tribe. And they look around.
How can we help you?
And a slow smile. I heard a rumor that somebody is killing people. Hello, friend.
And I think just the biggest, warmest, and in your ear during that hug. I'm so happy you found out who you're always meant to be.
Hug so hard. Thank you for pointing me in the right direction.
I knew I didn't need to be obvious this time. Actually, I didn't. Yelena told me don't say it, that you would figure it out.
Hey, listen,
I wanted
though.
to tell you. I was going to
This
tell you exactly
maze-
where to go, and she was like, no, let her figure it out.
This maze, though, you were right. That's it.
Thank you all. The world turns onward, its inhabitants engaged in many acts of violence, peace, and discovery. Halley's Comet returns, bringing with it the next chapter in our story. But for that, our dear viewers, you will have to wait for Halley's Children Ticonderoga. Thank you all for joining us. It's been a delight.
Yay! Thank you, guys. Thank you, Sarah. For
Like,
letting me-
subscribe,
you.
follow
Please.
along, all the
May
things.
your blood be nanobot free.
And
The
Mindy,
robots.
come back.
The robots.
Courtney, our favorite guests. Everyone's our
Absolutely.
favorite guest.
Beautiful. Wonderful.
Say that
Come back
one
next
time.
week for End of Rainbow, where we're just gonna like talk so much.
We won't
And
even
then
change clothes.
a couple weeks after that, the return of Gillington. Oh no!
Will there be nanobots in that series too?
Watch out!
Who
You gotta
knows?
watch.
I'm
the
tripping
podcast.
out.
Bots.
Gonna die.
Goodbye.
We love you. Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Fuck you.
I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I